Equity.
Iowa at Northwestern. Ace, tell us about the line moves in this game.
All right, Iowa opened up a 12-point road favorite. Now it's all the way down to 9.5. So this one's a true steam play for sure. Seen no buybacks even after going past that key number of 10. So there's some definite sharp money on the home dog.
Okay, so we're talking about, we know the early moves are coming. The source are the wise guys.
Sure.
We know that. Now, what we are going to try to determine in these videos is what's the intention. Are they, so let's talk about some possibilities since this is the first one we're doing this year. One, they really like the side, they're going to stay on it.
Yeah, keep the position all the way through.
Keep the position. Number two could be, hey, we think the public's going to be on this side. We're going to get ahead of it. And once we get ahead of it, once the public does get involved, we're going to buy it back.
Yeah, open up a nice middle for yourself by getting ahead of the market.
And there's another version that's close to that, and I don't think we've ever talked about, you can tell me your thoughts, is when the bookmaker who expects action on a public side actually wants to move the line. So let's say, for example, that we have a very public team like Notre Dame, and they open up, let's say, as a 3-point favorite, and there's some books out there that think this is way too short. They want to buy that thing up because they know they're going to get more action on Notre Dame. So if they lay it at 3 and get the thing up to 4.5 or something, then everyone that bets into them later, they're
getting the worst price.
They're
the worst of it.
Price.
And that's their way of increasing their hold, that edge, that 4.5% edge. That's the best way to increase that. If you know the tendencies of your clients, you're able to increase that price, make them pay a higher number. So
okay.
That increases their edge, I agree.
All right, so in this case, what is it about the move that makes it clear that they like this position?
Number one, you're looking, this game's going to have split money on it as far as the public money goes.
So even with the number, I was number 13, I'm seeing on your notes in the country, and Northwestern is not top 25, you think that all things equal, you're going to be getting
some split money? Yeah, when you got a double-digit road favorite, and this one's one of those 9 a.m. games here on the West Coast.
Which means it's going to get less public money.
Less betting action, and most of that betting action is tied up to later games. So most of these early games are used in exotics. You get them tied up in teasers, and you get them tied up in parlays with the later games. Very little straight money comes in on these early games, according to bookmakers.
Wow, that's interesting.
Most of it gets tied into the later games because your average bettor wants, if he loves that 3 o'clock game, let's say, put a little action by tying up that 9 a.m. game with it in a 2-team parlay. You hit that 9 a.m. game, now you got a free roll on your bet later.
And if you don't hit it, you can play something else.
Exactly, but not invest that straight bet action early. Most books get a lot of exotics early in the day with those early kickoffs.
So one of the things we talk about a lot is how public is this game. Oftentimes the teams involved is what drives my opinion of that. You're saying if it's an earlier game, you're naturally going to get less public action, and thus line moves, the bookmakers are not going to be prepping for a lot of public action.
Yeah, and they're mostly going to look to defend those exotics. And I think in this case, Iowa's going to be one of those games where you're going to get it tied into a lot of teasers with the later action. Trying to buy them down now, sitting at 9.5, 9. It'll probably go by game time. They'll be able to take them down to about a field goal. So I think Iowa's going to be tied into a lot of the later action.
But the fact the books were so quick to move this number is a sign they're not really afraid of Iowa laying less than 10, even in the parlays or whatever.
Exactly.
All right, so legitimate move, though. For us, there's not a lot to do with a move like this because, one, if you're playing it at +9 or 9.5, you've lost most of the value.
Yeah, even though with 11, 10 not being the keyest of numbers,
10.
The 10 is one of them, but I mean, it's not the keyest
it's
of
3,
numbers.
7, 10, though, right?
Right, in that order. But I think now, if you see a buyback, if you see this go back up, because there is that middle opportunity, and so far I've seen no movement back towards that 10. No one's trying to middle this game. That's why
We're recording on Thursday.
Exactly, and I've isolated this as true steam for sure. This is wise guy money all the way through. Northwestern hasn't covered now, what, 5, 6, 7 straight games in a row. I don't think it's them playing the percentages they're due, but I do think the market undervalued them now. When a team doesn't cover that many in a row, sooner or later you're going to get value on that side.
All right, good stuff. Now we're going to be breaking down 7 games this week. And so in the next video, we'll be breaking down our next game.